Hello there, and welcome back to the Stepping Into Yourself podcast. My name is Tori Stauffer, and I am so glad you're here. Today, we're going to talk about that stage that you get into when you're doing this work, when you're showing up, you're doing all the things, and nothing's working. It's still not happening. It still feels like it's forever away, and it just feels excruciating. This is the stage where so many women will quit. They will stop. They just get exhausted from this stage, and it's not talked about often enough. And so we're going to get into it today. This stage I like to call the messy middle, and that is exactly what it feels like. It is that time where you are doing everything right. So like maybe you've started in this work already, and you have started doing the work. You are, I don't know, doing unblocking. You are facing that voice inside your head. You're really focusing on seeing the positives and not really letting your brain go into the negatives. Maybe you've created the vision for yourself. You've created this idea of like, this is where I'm going. You are crystal clear. Maybe you are taking those steps now and you're being consistent with things, and you're doing all of the things they say to do, and yet you're still not there, right? And so a lot of times people get stuck on a specific thing. So for me, for a really long time, I got stuck I was chasing $25,000 months. I really wanted 25K months. And I would go and I would get close, but not quite there. And I was learning all the strategies, and I was doing strategies that were both business strategies and the more spiritual strategies. So doing the inner work, doing the abundance work, making sure I wasn't coming from a place of lack, doing all of those things, and it still wasn't happening. And I would get to like 22,000, and I would be like, are you kidding me? And I was keeping myself from actually getting there. And so I want to go through today and kind of walk you through how to get through some of the messy middle. Some of it you can't. Some of it you just have to be in it. And I know that's not what you want to hear, but there's a way to be in it and not hating every second of it. Because a lot of us get resentful in the messy middle, and even more of us will quit when we're in the messy middle. And that is the worst thing you can do, because you are so close. But it is the space when you are kind of in that in between. You're in between the vision and the reality hitting of like it showing up in your 3D physical world. You can see that like future vision of you very, very clearly, but it's like nothing you do gets her here. And it's such a hard phase because like you're ready, you're invested, you can taste it. It's like, especially if you're at the point where you've been doing the visualization exercises, like you feel like that version of you is a memory, right? Like you are in it so deep that it's like she's already there, but then you look around and you're like, my house is still a disaster. I'm not in my mansion. Where is my water view? Where is my fancy car? Like, where are all those things? So the first thing to think about is how we are looking at the messy middle. Remembering that we don't manifest what we want, we manifest who we are, which is the most empowering and frustrating statement in manifestation ever, but it's also the most true, because you can wish for it all you want. And that's why, like, in my mind, yes, I believe that writing out the list of what you want is really important, but I'm not the believer of writing out 10 times a day, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. It doesn't do anything, because if you don't become the person who has those things, you're never going to get it. We get stuck in the lack, right? And lack, the feeling of lack is one that really will keep your desires at bay. And so, yes, you want to hold the vision of what you want. But when we get into the point of feeling like we are doing the damn thing, we are doing it all and it's not coming, that right there, that feeling that I just said, that, ugh, why is it still not here? That is holding it away, because the universe is like, oh, still not here? Sure, I'll give you more of that. So it's really tricky to find a balance of being honest, because I also don't believe in the toxic positivity where you're like, I'm looking at my $1 million view. Like, no, I'm not. You can lie to yourself, and if you lie to yourself, that's also not going to help it. So it's, how do you feel the feeling of it already here without lying to yourself? And the first way is gratitude. It's starting to train yourself to notice the glimmers. So, what's a glimmer? A glimmer is like when I was chasing that 25K month, and if I hit a 15K month, that's amazing. And instead of being mad that I didn't hit my goal, being like, holy cow, I am a photographer who is making $15,000 a month with shooting branding. Like, that's incredible, right? Maybe it is, okay, here's another one. My highest self does trips for work and brings her family along. And like, the vision is I'm in California or I'm in Paris and I'm bringing my family along. And about probably almost 2 years ago, I was at a conference and I was working the conference. It was in Orlando, so it's only like 2 hours away from my house. It wasn't like a big deal, but we were staying at a resort, and the resort had this really cool pool. And so the final day of this event, we ended at like noon. So I was talking to my husband. I'm like, hey, bring the boys down. They'll dig the pool. We can spend the day here, and then we'll eat dinner and head home. And we're floating around the lazy river, and it hit me. It's the same feeling that I know it's going to be when we are in Paris and all 4 of my kids are there. And it was this realization of like, oh, this is it. It's happening. Like, I'm on a work trip and I'm bringing my family along. Now, here's the thing. Most people will look at that. We go to Orlando all the time. It is not a exotic vacation for us because we go there all the time. It doesn't even feel like a vacation. It's like we fly out of there. Like, it's right there. So it would have been very easy, and most people would not have noticed it as that manifestation starting to come through. But they always come through in teeny tiny little ways like that first. And you have to notice the glimmer. You have to notice it and appreciate it and be like, this is it. More of this, please. Yes. Yes, please. So really leaning into that gratitude. So again, sometimes it looks like a gratitude list, like an old school gratitude list. Sometimes it's a different version of gratitude, but practicing that gratitude all the time is the first step. The second one is to celebrate the wins. So I have, if you have followed me for a while, you are familiar with my dance parties. So I have a friend who told me one time, like, I'm terrible in the past with celebrating my wins. I would be going for a goal for a really, really long time, and I would hit it and be like, cool, check, next. Like, let's go. What's the next thing on my list? And she was like, Tori, you need to stop and you need to celebrate that. That's an incredible accomplishment. You've worked for that. You've tried for that. You need to stop and celebrate it. So I started doing this thing where I made a celebration playlist, and it had like songs that were just like, I loved, like, okay, so like Walking on Sunshine, just something that you can like jump around and dance to, and silly dance, not cute dance. It's not cute at all, but it is just complete joy, flailing your arms. And the whole point is to feel it in your body. Let that joy and celebration like move through your body. So I started doing the celebration playlist, and anytime I have a win, big, small, on purpose, accidental, whatever, I would play one of the songs from my playlist. Well, then I started playing another game where if I was out in the wild and I heard one of my celebration songs, I would make myself dance. Yes, in public. It would happen in public. It's little in public. Let's not be crazy. I'm not full blown Carlton dancing in public, but I would do a little dance and celebrate as if I had hit one of my goals, right? And so the month that I hit like a $40,000 month, I was doing these celebration dances all over the place. So I say that because it's really important to feel the joy and feel the celebration in your body. And when we are in the messy middle, sometimes it's really hard to celebrate because we're really, really, really frustrated, and we're really just like, we so want to be on the other side of this. We so want to be on the other side where it doesn't feel hard. It doesn't feel like a push. It doesn't feel heavy. So doing the gratitude and doing the celebration really help to kind of soften that, and are just an easy win. I actually had to use my celebration. When I launched this podcast, it was an accident. I had a whole launch planned out, and I was going to launch like 5 episodes, and I was going to be hyping it up and all of it. And someone had told me that Apple Music or Apple Podcast sometimes needs a few days in advance to get it all synced up. So I was sitting at home one night when my kids were in bed, and I was trying to figure it out and sync everything to my distribution channels. And I don't know what I'm doing. It's okay. I'm going to figure it out on the way. And so I'm like, all right, I got everything linked up. Everything's good. I go to bed. I wake up the next morning and I have notifications that my podcast was published. And I was like, what? It was just the one. It was the one. It's literally a 4-minute and 47-second episode. It's that short. That's the only one live. And everybody tells you don't launch with just one. You need multiples. And I could have freaked out. I could have taken it down. I could have scrambled to undo it because it didn't happen in the timeline and in the plan and all of that. And you know what I did? I celebrated. I put on one of my songs and I jumped around the bathroom and I celebrated that I launched my podcast, and nobody knew about it. And it's fine. It's fine. I texted my girl group like, hey, funny story, I accidentally launched. But that's how we roll. And so when you have the ability to celebrate instead of panic, that kind of energy, that frequency that you are operating in, it will pull you there faster. My final tip on this is to reframe the waiting. I was at a conference this past weekend, and we were sitting around, and there's a woman there who is, her big dream is she wants to move to Europe. She knows she's going to do it. She knows where in Italy she's going to move. Like, it's all in her head. And she was saying that she's just so impatient and is tired of waiting, and she knows she wants to go there, and she just wants it to be here already. And my friend Rachel really had a beautiful analogy. And she said, if you were going on a vacation somewhere and you are on the airplane on your way there, would you be mad about it? Would you be frustrated about it? And she was like, no, I love being on the airplane. I love the airplane. It's so fun. You're already on the trip. And I realized, like, that is the secret, that is how you get excited in the messy middle. It's how you reframe that like waiting, instead of being like, oh, why isn't it here yet? You're like, I am so freaking excited for where we are going. Like, this is happening. It's going. We're on the way. Do you know when you're in the plane, can you see the path? You don't know how you're getting there. You just trust that you're sitting in the seat and those pilots are flying your butt across the ocean to wherever you are going. And you trust that you're going to get there. And you're not impatient. You're just like, where's my drink? Right? But reframe and get excited. And that's how you hold the vision and stay positive about it without lying to yourself, because that is a positive spin on it, right? It's like, I am so excited for this part of my life that is happening, right? And it is something that takes practice, right? So the first step in all of this work is metacognition, is the thinking about the thinking, right? So when you feel or you hear yourself with a negative thought about something, don't judge. It's fine. It's a training. You've trained your brain to do it. And it's not just you, society, all of it. We've trained our brains to think in what is the problem and how do I fix it? And so it takes effort and retraining to let your thoughts let go of that and start choosing to think about it in a more positive way. So when you think that, oh, it's still not here, I'm doing all this stuff and it's still not here, stop and just be like, I am so excited for, and pick a thing. And pick a thing that, like, envision it like you're on that trip and like you're ready to get off the plane and you're going to be there. You can't rush the messy middle, but there's a couple things in the messy middle that are actually beneficial. Sometimes we are, and I hate using the word stuck, but sometimes we're stuck in the messy middle because there's something else that we need, right? Like maybe we need a lesson from this time in our lives. Maybe there's somebody that's supposed to come into our life that's supposed to come with us to this next phase that we haven't met yet, right? So you have no idea why it is that you're here and you're quote unquote stuck in the messy middle, but just do your best to enjoy being there while continuing the work of being the version of you on the other side. The other thing to really think about too is you will one day look back at that messy middle time of your life, and that is where all of your transformation happened. That's where all of your lessons happened. The messy middle is where you became the version of you who has everything. And have you ever seen the movie Click? It's an Adam Sandler movie, but it is one of my absolute favorites with the message. And he has this like remote control, right? And he can fast forward or pause or rewind. He can like impact life by using this remote control. And he starts fast forwarding through, he has to get like work done, right? So he fast forwards through things that seem insignificant in the moment, but the remote like learns his patterns. And so it starts fast forwarding through what is actually the most beautiful moments of his life. And you will look back on that time that you're currently frustrated in that messy middle, and you will be so grateful for that time you spent there, for those lessons. This entire piece of my life, this podcast, my mentorship, my coaching, all of that is about my path through the messy middle. And now I'm able to help others through it. So don't rush your process, because everybody has things they need to pick up along the way, and just allow it to be. If you feel like you need a little support in this, like, Tori, I hear what you're saying, but it's so much easier said than done, I do have opportunities to do mentorship with me, whether that is in like a where you're kind of watching videos and going through it. I have something called the expansion library where you go in and you watch the videos, and then we have a monthly Q&A call. You can come on, you can ask anything, you get time to get all your questions answered. And then I do also have one-on-one mentorship. If you're like, no, I want to get through this now. Like, I want to be on the other side of this. I don't want to spend all the time figuring it out and learning it all myself. I want somebody to look at what I'm doing and tell me what shifts to make to get me there faster. That's also something that we do. So you can reach out to me at tori@toristauffer.com. You can find me on my website, toristauffer.com, or catch me on Instagram. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy the messy middle. I will see you soon.